Even all, how we all doing? So it's Tregs here. Welcome to day 11 of my commitment to you guys for every day for June, a mental health walk and talk. Now, it's a little bit windy. I can't control the wind. There's many things I can do. I can't control the wind. And to be honest, I should have done this earlier because I'm now walking around the block where I live, and it's rainy, it's windy. We're going to do our very best. But I've made a commitment to you. I've called it a walk and talk. I've sat down on it a few times. So I'm like, no, I'm going to get out, and I've just had my food, so I'm going to digest it. And tonight's subject, I want to talk to you about discipline. Because this is a word that I couldn't used to quite get down with. Basically, because I would see it as some sort of punishment, some sort of dirty word, just because I would then be able to justify my own shortcomings when it came to my health and fitness. I read a book a few years back by a guy called Glenn Livingston called Never Binge Again. And he used to talk about, like, if you've got a problem and then you sabotage, you self-sabotage with booze, food, then you've got two problems. And he spoke about discipline basically being freedom, and that everything that you desire in life is on the other side of discipline. And it really got me thinking, because I used to, like I said, I'd look at discipline like, oh, it just means going without, it means you can't have fun. And actually, the more I've leaned into discipline in recent times, my life is so much better. You know, deep down, I've always known that I could get into the kind of physical shape that I am in now, but I didn't have the discipline and the habits to get there. It's taken years of failing forward and now embedding these habits and these systems into my life that I've got visible abs, I feel strong, I've got great energy. And this is not to impress you, this is to impress upon you that, you know, discipline is so important. Even as a fitness coach for many years, I lacked decent discipline. And when we're talking about discipline, we're not just talking about in your health and fitness. It could be with your nighttime routine as well. Obviously, that will fall into health and fitness. You know, if you have discipline with a nighttime routine, then all of a sudden you may be sleeping better. You've got more energy to execute and go through life the next day. You're less moody. If you've got discipline with, like, your boundaries with work and in life, you don't end up, you know, being in situations where you're like, oh, what have I done that for? So I can't say no. I haven't got any boundaries. Discipline with your boundaries. Discipline with your phone, like less doom scrolling. I've said in previous videos, like, I have discipline now with my phone. No phone in the morning for 20 minutes. That's just for meditation, connecting to a visual of the future of that myself and Becky are trying to create for ourselves. And what I'm trying to do with my online business, Healthy Happy Dad, connecting to that before I get into the world, because we are just bombarded, aren't we, with messages all day, every day, and half your thoughts aren't your own. And again, you know, you start consuming things on the socials, and then the algorithm will just feed you more. And before you know it, you're in a dangerous place. But let's get back to that discipline. We seem to think that, you know, discipline means that we're going to miss out. Discipline means that we can't have. It doesn't mean that. You know, we know when it comes to health and fitness that discipline means things like tracking your calories, making sure you hit your steps, you know, making sure that even on the weekend you're moving. Okay, discipline doesn't. I always say this doesn't have to mean you're getting up at 5 a.m, having a nice bath, listening to David Goggins, and, you know, doing burpees. It doesn't have to be that. Discipline is sticking to that word. You know, I don't want to be out here walking tonight, but I'm being disciplined enough to stick to the word. I promised you I was going to do this. And in the past, I'm very guilty of starting something and then just letting it fizzle out. I don't want to do that. I want to be disciplined enough to get this recorded, get it uploaded, get it emailed out, because I've committed to it. And the thing is, the more you follow through with your good habits and your discipline, the more you can actually trust yourself. Like, forget about anyone else. Like, your friends and family might have heard you say for years, oh, I'm going to get fit, I'm going to do this, going to do that. But then your habits, and they're looking at you going, Should you be eating that in excess? Should you be drinking like that? That's not, how's that helping you? That's not discipline. That looks like somebody that's got poor standards. And you know, when we can instill that discipline, we start to build a stronger character. I'm absolutely convinced of that. I was saying to a couple of people today, I feel that, sorry about this guys, my mindset is a lot stronger. Even going through this time with my dad having cancer, I've become more disciplined with my habits. And do you know what? It's freedom. It really is, because I'm like, the more you're disciplined, the more you stick to the plan, the more you trust yourself. And I wake up every morning, I'm like, wow, I'm getting leaner. I'm leaner than I ever thought I could be. And that's through discipline. And discipline isn't a dirty word. Discipline's just sticking to that plan, and it can be flexible. Of course it can be flexible, you know, because not every day is the same. You can have high calories, you can have low calories. Some days you're going to do more steps than others, but you know, you got to move, right? You got to move. I still see people that check in and they've done like 3,000 steps, and I'm like, that's a hell of an achievement to be that lazy. Like that, congratulations, that is one hell of an achievement, you lazy bastard. Oh, I know you work, we all work, mate. But like, come on, just walk up and down. That's not discipline. 3,000 steps a day, that's fucking terrible, poor standards. You know, you can't expect results with, well, you're not even trying, are you? You're not trying. I mean, come on. But again, in a video I was doing earlier, I was talking about, you know, I'm finding now that with my health, my fitness, my mindset, even with my dad still struggling, the discipline it's given me, it's made me more confident. I feel more aligned delivering my message. But let's look in other, you know, if you're more disciplined with your money, this is something I'm trying to be more. I've been guilty of being frivolous. Is when you're more disciplined, you're building for the future with your finances, or you can afford to do nicer holidays if you're more disciplined and you're tracking the income. Something that, even as somebody who's run a business over the years, I can be frivolous. I do enjoy, and that's an ADHD thing. So I've been learning to become more disciplined in that area. Opening mail. I'll tell you a funny story. I was telling a client the other day, like, I've never been disciplined with opening mail, and it's got me fines in the past because I've just ignored it. This is a true story. Many years ago, I'm much better now, but many years ago I took a train ride. It was quite a long train ride for some business, and my ADHD brain went, oh yeah, you can take all your mail to open. No word of a lie, 6 months of mail piled up. And I was like, that's an opportunity to open my mail. So I was on the train, I was having a great time just opening my mail. I had a little plastic bag there for the rubbish. Lovely. There was this younger couple, they were sat opposite me, and they were like, that's a lot of mail you got there. Like, what's going on? I was like, oh yeah, I'm on a train, it's a good time to open 6 months of mail. And they were like, they couldn't get their head around it. For me, it was normal, ADHD brain, poor discipline with things like that. They're like, we've never seen anything like that. But to me, that was a norm. But poor discipline with opening mail, with, you know, I think I had a £1,000 fine a couple of years ago because I'd had a penalty charge for something I'd done in the car. You know, maybe got a red light, whatever it was, but just hadn't responded. And it went on and on and on and on. When I finally opened, it was too late. You know, it was like, bang, fine, points. Because I wasn't disciplined in that area. So I'm being vulnerable with you tonight. But discipline with your health and fitness is going to set you free. Discipline with your finances is going to set you free. Discipline with your boundaries is going to set you free. And discipline with, yeah, just, you know, things like that, what I struggle with. There's an area for everyone where they can improve with their discipline. I know there is. Discipline is not a bad word. It's not a suffering. Discipline makes you strong. Discipline, I believe, makes you like a more attractive as a person, male, female. Discipline is sexy. It's a, you know, it shows that you've got standards. And you know, to quote Glenn Livingston, on the other side of that discipline are all of your hopes and dreams. And before I sign off, because it's extremely windy, one of the things he says in Never Binge Again is, he's like, I want you to imagine you've got like an inner pig. He said, I'm sure pigs are lovely, but they squeal. And he said, at first, when you start something, that piggy's going to squeal. because the piggy wants to party. The piggy wants to self-sabotage. The piggy's going, go on, gamble, drink, you know, like overeat. You deserve it, you deserve it, you deserve it. And then you do it, and then the piggy goes quiet and you feel awful. Piggy wins. So you've got to learn to deal with the piggy squeals. And the squeals will be loud at first, but if you can maintain discipline and not do anything drastic, not do anything stupid with your diet and stick to a balanced diet, those piggy squeals will die down. And soon enough, the piggy will know who's boss, and you'll learn to live. You'll learn to live and hear those squeals now and again, but understand that actually I've got the discipline not to cave into the piggy. So listen up, guys. Understand that it's not just about setting that goal. It's not just about going, I'm going to do this. You need to have that discipline. You need to have the boundaries. Put them in place. And it doesn't matter what is going on with your life. If you've got the discipline to execute your habits every day, then you're going to see success. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm in to get dry and get this uploaded.